I'm clicking on the recording. Recording is on now. Yeah. So as I said, thank you all for coming in a session. Let's begin. The intent is to understand how to approach applications. So the first question should really be there in terms of what's a holistic admission process? Because when we use the term holistic, many people have different versions to this, right? And holistic, many people say, okay, fine, he wants my academics, he wants my extracurriculars, co-curriculars, he wants everything in that sense of it, right? That's what the university is looking at. But why is the university interested in doing something like that? That is a question you should be asking. So, a university which says holistic admission process is basically looking at an applicant, not reduce them to mere test marks or scores, but really considering other parameters, other things which a child represents or presents. For example, if you really ask me, is a 99% student good for any university? Well, depends if that is all that the university is looking at. And historically, that's how we have applied, right? So, but at education like Ashoka, it would not be the case. It would be requiring things beyond a certain percentage because you might be a 99%, but you could still be a bookworm. You could still be a person who's only limited to knowledge given, which you've taken grabs. So you might be good in memory. You might be good in delivering that memory in terms of an examination is concerned, but you might not be creative. You might not be a person who's thinking outside the box. You might not be a person who's comfortable with dealing with failure. You might not be a person who's comfortable with handling the journey beyond being failure, having the power of resilience. You might not be a person who's comfortable working with teams. So, and if you see, a lot of these qualities are what are required in case you want to be a part of an education system which is research based, which is one of the top universities on earth. And it would ask you information which assesses you on that. Now, sadly, if you see, uh, all these parameters which I've just spoken of, none of them get reflected in your marks, right? And there is a certain way we have historically depicted this. So, if I have to really ask you, why is this required, right? Why can't we just be okay with whatever mechanism was there earlier, and represent ourselves in an application? So, for that, you have to really ask, how do you normally get an admission in a traditional university within India? And there are three parameters. One is merit, second is quota, third is funding, right? And I think almost all students would understand these three terminologies. Merit is a cutoff which you use to get an admit. Quota, I hope you know there is an ST, SC, general, girls. There could be categorizations of various forms. Funding is the money you have in your pocket decides if you get a seat or not get a seat. Many students could really talk about buying a seat out of a university also, right? So all these conversations could really happen based on a traditional education setup, which you know historically and which you have applied. But this was absolutely fine if you were, in the first and the second industrial revolution, and that is what the education was then. So if you see, the first industrial revolution happened in the 18th century, second happened in the 19th century, and at that time, assessments or in that time, education was or could be classified into, memory based, deliver to masses. Let's come up with a program which will evaluate in masses. Let's check if they could absorb knowledge or not. Let's check if they could spread this knowledge and automate this process and so on. But the thing is, the education system got stuck there, and the industry moved ahead. So when the industry moved ahead, they started creating a gap between the education system and what the industry wanted or offers. So the third and the fourth industrial revolution now says or demands that not one linear or not one way of evaluation of a child should thus be the case. And if you see, the top universities on earth really say, thus, we are going to evaluate you holistically, thus, say that the traditional way of evaluation does not work, thus, say that let's know you as a person and then let's evaluate if we are a right fit or not. And more so, reasons for you to look for a holistic university also is because that is the only reality now, right? So you could now really have a choice to apply to a traditional university, or you could really have now a choice to apply to a university which looks at you holistically. But if you really have that choice, choose the second one. And the reason for that is, like you could imagine, right? If the new education policy, if anybody has really heard, also talks about let's get rid of this traditional university setup and let's create all those universities who prepare you holistically, which groom you holistically, which look at you holistically, which does not prepare you for grades, but prepares you for life. And if such conversations are happening in the universities, universities would also be forced to evaluate you at an entry point on all those parameters which the new education policy is going to ask for. So now you're at that stage where you could now either go to a traditional setup or go to a university which checks you holistically, which they technically could call a 21st century education. That's the decision you got to make, and your schools should be preparing you for it, right? And I'm assuming that is the reason this session is organized, for you to understand this better. So, what is an admission process, right? And or application process? If I have to ask the audience.
Sir, I am sorry, sir. There are students waiting in the waiting room. If you could just admit them.
Right.
Thank you, sir. Sorry for the interruption, sir.
No, it's okay.
I don't want any of the students to miss this important session. It's very useful for them.
Right, so I've clicked on that button, which says, but I think more keep coming. Okay, fine. I think I've given an admit to all. Okay, so if I have to ask you as an audience and as students who are present over there, what do you think is an application process? So what does a university look at? Now, cameras are on. You could technically unmute and answer this yourself. What do you think is an application process? Anyone? You could come, say it in chat. You could unmute.
It might be the good grades or the good percentage.
Okay, so great.
Person is having.
Great, right? So one option is percentage in grades. Great. What else do you think an application process would be? Do you want me to look at the chat box? Right.
Sir, it can also be the extracurriculars you've done.
Correct, but why?
Because our extracurricular activities reflect our personality, that what we are doing and what we can do.
Yes.
And,
so, Tejendrapal, if I may ask you, you're from a school who might have technically, let's say, 20 co-curriculars, right? Now,
yes,
20 co-curriculars out of the school, probably with the capacity of 3,000 students, I'm assuming, right? Don't you think it will be obvious that most of them would have very common co-curriculars?
yes, sir, we can say, but that is due to the interest also. The person who is having interest, he will be taking that only.
Absolutely. So I was from an army public school and the class size was too small. So when there used to be an opportunity to play football, the entire class had to participate. There was no choice because we had to ensure there are at least 11, people playing. So everybody was playing football. Right? Everybody had to play cricket. Everybody had to be a part of so-called SUP, so-called dancing, do whatever for that matter. It was so mandatory. Right?
Taking an example of myself, sorry, sir.
Yeah,
taking
please.
an example of myself, I am indulged in singing, bhangra, and poetry. That reflects that I am a cultural person as well as I can perform very well.
Correct.
On the stage.
Got it. So let me take this. Right. So let me take this point to another level. Got it. So we have heard academics, scores. We have heard extracurriculars, co-curriculars. What else do you think schools or an application process could include? Anybody, random. I'm absolutely fine with it.
So a personal essay, your merit, your interests, hobbies, etc.
Okay, so quite a list that we came up with, right? So
yeah, just a second, Harpreet. I was just thinking if you can, from the settings, disable the waiting room now so that the students can join in and there is no interruption in the presentation there. If that's okay with Alka ma'am and Seema ma'am.
Yeah, I think I could do that. Yeah, the waiting room has been now disabled.
Then we won't be able to keep a check on who's coming in. So many times just outsiders, they keep disturbing them.
But Alka ma'am, I think as it is, we're not keeping a tag on it because I'm approving everybody who's coming in, right? So I would not know who's an outsider.
And we don't have any facility of a co-host, right? We can't.
Correct. No.
I think I do.
So
Right.
either
So he may, I was just telling ma'am, just because if his full screen is there, share screen, he may not be able to see that admit all until and unless you tell him.
correct.
Yeah, so then for that reason, the students would be waiting there in the waiting room itself.
Right. So I've disabled the waiting room, Hina. Thanks. Now, whatever it is, this is what it is. Right. So good enough. So the first admission process or the application process is, which students normally forget to state, is shortlistings. Where do you want to apply? Right. And Indians are very clear. They have the best shortcut to know where to apply. Guess what is that? How do you identify which university to apply?
So we will search which is the best university.
Absolutely. So everybody wants to go to an IIT, correct? Or everybody wants to go to a DU, or you want to go to an MIT or Stanford or Harvard, right? That's the best Indian way to shortlist. You go to a ranking page and you say, let's target top 10, top 50, top 30, right? That's great. Good. What's the other way? The other is the application form itself. Got it. So I know which university to apply. Now let's see what is the part of the application. So there are various components within it. Academic scores. And normally there are from 10 to 12. A lot of universities also count the 11th one, right? There are a few universities with an exception which count class 9th also, but the standard is from 10th to 12th. Got it. That's easy, right? That's data point. You simply copy paste, you're done. Great, works. What else? Some standardized test. What would that be? Depending on which university you're applying to, what courses you're applying for, it might have a test like the SAT, the ACT. If it's an international university, it might also ask you conversations around IELTS or TOEFL. It might have conversations as an individual test, which is done by that university itself. For example, the Ashoka Aptitude Assessment, which happens at Ashoka. Like that, there could be many, depending on which university you're applying for. So these are standardized tests. Got it? Then there is a statement of purpose or personal essays. How difficult could this be? So an Indian student really sees this as my friend Ganesha, right? How could it be more difficult than that? मैंने लिखा है my friend, school में ऐसे लिखना आता है, वैसे कुछ होगा. Right? So there's an assumption students make. And I'm really telling you this out of experience of talking to kids and really saying, do you know how to work on an essay? हाँ सर वो तो हो जाएगा. मैंने कैसे ऐसे बड़े रखे हैं स्कूल में. Right? So which is fine. So we're there. What else? Then there is one letter of recommendation. Whom do you get it from? So the list is very clear. In India, the higher you go in hierarchy, the better the letter of recommendation is. Right? So you say either get it from the school principal or, sir, I know the chief minister. Can I get a letter of recommendation from there? Yes, perfect. So the higher you go in the authority, the better people think the letter of recommendation is. Okay, this is also sorted. What else? Then there is a non-academic engagement. Certificates. Can chahiye fee, pachi, ti, you get those many printed. Right? And trust me, there is no way for the university to authenticate or tell this is right, this is not right. Correct? This is also done. Perfect. What else? Then there is an interview. Right? And then there is a process which you call as a financial aid. This might vary from a university to university. An interview might or might not happen to a university and not in a university. Now, the problem is we are working on the application process like fill in the blanks. So there is a blank. As soon as we see a blank, oh, isme to kuch bharna hai. Chalo bharte hain. Now, there is a certain reason the application is designed the way it is designed. And we got to understand that. Because trust me, if you ask me, it's very easy to apply. But it's very difficult to get into a university which admits you like this. These are the two different points. So as a student, I hope you could understand, exam dena bada aasan hai. Right? Marks lana mushkil hai. Correct? So it's a similar conversation. So if you really ask me, and if I have to explain you, what does it take to apply? This is it. Fill in the blanks, it could be done in one day. So Ashoka's admission deadline for the last round was yesterday. And Hina and I, we were sitting till 12 midnight, till even 2 in the morning, because students were really filling it in the last minute. And we started our application process October. But everybody now wanted to fill at the last second. That's the Indian way of doing it. What I'm about to discuss is really telling you not how to apply, but how to increase your possibility of success when you apply, right? I hope you get this intent of this session. Okay, so how should you look at it? So what do the university really look at? These are all data points, जो मैंने अभी से पिछले slide में बताए, right? This is the way they look at things, but what are they really interested in looking at, right? So if you ask me, there are primarily two things. One is context. And if I have to give you an understanding of what context is, it's simple English, which I've written, that what has life offered you and what have you done with the opportunities life gave you? That is context. What do you mean by this? So you're from a good school from Mohali, right? Shamrock, considered to be one of the good schools there. But is everybody as beneficial as you are? There could be many from a government school, many from a KV, many from probably a better school in that sense of it, right? There could be various kind of schools and you could be a part of a student there, right? So opportunities which life gave you, you did X. The point is, if life had an opportunity for you to perform better than X and you did only X, then your application is weak. I'll give an example. There was a student from Sangrur, 80 kilometers away from Ludhiana. She applied to Ashoka University. She was raised by a single parent, mother. The student was in a government school where Punjabi was the medium of communication. English was one subject. Her mother was the only earning member in the family, and she was working in the same school in which the daughter was studying. Now, when she applies to a university like Ashoka, right, can I compare her application to a student in Shamrock who probably has all opportunity, has probably 20 co-curriculars to work with? English is probably your standard language which you use across all programs, right? Can I really do that comparison? Answer is no. Right? So I have to see her application in the context, in the life she brings. Right? So are you being compared with somebody else in a holistic application process? Should not. You should only be compared from the life you bring along. So whatever life gave you, against what did you perform in it? Right? So if you had more opportunity, should you have done better? Answer is yes. Right? It's not you 5 co-curriculars against somebody's 2 or somebody's 15. No. Did life give them enough opportunity to do that or more than that? For example, somebody might say, I do horse riding. But if I really see the background of a school, probably everybody does horse riding. So is it something he or she did to push his envelope beyond a certain level? Probably not. Right? But for many, it would be a luxury, right? I did horse riding. Probably only one in my entire school did it. Right? So just get some context. That is important. The second thing is, the university is really saying, let's find the right fit. Now, what do you mean by this? So right fit is a place where the university says, this is who we are. And the more aligned you are to this thought, the more likely for you to get selected. So the challenge in this is that the student now has to understand what the university is and see, understand what aspect of the child would be more appropriate for me to show or represent for that match to be created. So it is not like that you start bragging A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, and this is all I have done in life. This is a great CV. I'm the best you could possibly have. It does not work like that. It's a bit complicated than that, right? So if I have to now ask you to look at the application process again, see the shortlisting, I definitely not recommend you going to a ranking page and saying, let's target top 10, top 5, top 50. It doesn't work. Because if I ask most of India, everybody wants to go to an IIT. The other question should be, is an IIT ready to take you? What is the gap between that? Do you have enough time to fulfill that gap? Right? Is IIT the best choice according to what I want in life? I'm giving you standard regular examples for you to then relate. Then everything in your application for that matter, which you look, then has to be looked differently. And you currently don't have the tools to do that. So today I intend to give you those tools. So the way we have historically looked at the application is a self-bragging tool, right? That means I am the best you can find. But you have to please understand this. When you're applying for an education, why do you want to get educated? Can I ask the audience, what is the purpose of education?
Sir, if you will see nowadays, you can say we are taking education nowadays in order to get a job only. But according to my point of view, I think the education we are taking is to convert a person into a monkey, into a civilized person.
Okay.
In simple,
Got
we can
it.
say this.
I get that. I get that sense what you're trying to say. So if I have to elaborate that further, and I could use your statement itself. So you're saying there is some gap which you're trying to say that the education should be able to fill. Is that okay as a statement if I use? So for the one who used the monkey example, is that okay as a statement for me to use? There is a gap which you intend to fill.
Yes, sir, absolutely.
Okay. So when I'm saying this, what is the first thing you say? So when you're saying I want to be educated, that means first there is a gap, right? You're acknowledging there is a gap. Second, you're acknowledging that wherever I'm applying, that place would be able to fill that gap. So do you think your application should be all self-bragging, or it should also be a place for you to say, this is the gap I have realized within me, and this is what you guys offer, and that is why I'm applying for an education from you? You see the difference? So when you're applying for a job, you're all about, I'm the best and I'm the one you should have for your company to do better. Correct? But when you're planning to get educated, your way of approach has to slightly altered. Right? So if you're the best, you probably don't need that education. You know what I'm trying to say, right? So please understand that education applications are supposed to be humble. They're supposed to be more on the grounds of I know myself, not just my strengths, but also my weaknesses. अब इंडिया में हम SWOT एनालिसिस करना सिखाते हैं, अच्छे अच्छे MBA कॉलेजेस में सिखाते हैं. SWOT एनालिसिस अगर किसी को पता है, स्ट्रेंथ, opportunities, weaknesses and threats. Sorry, strength, weaknesses, opportunities, SWOT analysis, threats. अब उसमें क्या होता है, हम बच्चों को बोलते हैं कि threats नहीं दिखाने, or let's use a term which will rather sound like as if it's a strength. So people who have time management issues, who are not able to do their things on time, right? They, rather than writing, I have a time management issue, they say I'm a perfectionist. And because I can't complete something in time specifically, I take longer. अब देखा जाए तो technically same चीज कही है, rather than putting it as a threat, I put it as a strength. And that's what we teach you. Right? So to be honest, that is not how you should be applying to a university. Okay, the university would rather appreciate a student who's saying, I know my weaknesses, thus I'll be in a position to work on it. So if I have to really ask you this, as a person who's a great perfectionist, would he ever work on his time management skills? Because he does not see it as a weakness. Would he ever work on it? Because if it was a weakness, he mentioned as a weakness, not as a strength. Agar meri strength hai ki I'm a perfectionist, why would I ever get rid of it? So forever I'll have that challenge of time management. Right? So this is just one example which I'm giving you. And the reason I gave you this example is because we have taught you otherwise. So I'm just asking you to disconnect yourself from that thought. Okay, so an application can't be just about a self-bragging, and that's not the way for you to represent. So how to represent yourself? So if you talk to any university, the university would normally say, we are interested in you. Tell us your story, they say. Right? Hanji, story. Let's go back to the application. Okay. Application में story कहाँ है? So there is an application form, there is academic score, there is standardized test, statement of purpose, personal essays, letter of recommendation, non-academic engagement, interview, financial aid. Where is story in it? Technically, there is no word story, right? And there is no place for you to write it. And in the absence of that, students just do fill in the blanks, and they do one step or the other, they complete their application, right? Now let's go back to that place where it says, let's draft your story. So today I'm going to give you tools of how to create this story or how to work on this story. And technically, by the end of working of your story, it should automatically make your application. That is the intent. Is that okay? सर हिला सकते हो, मेरे को सबकी पगड़ियां हिलती हुई दिखनी चाहिए, है ना? हाँ, बहुत बढ़िया. So let's see what this story drafting should be. So the first step in that story, and this is a draft, it's like a skeleton, consider it like this, right? And if you really don't think about a word limit, don't think about if you're doing good or bad, right? Don't think, should I be showing it to somebody or not? Abhi kuch mat socho aisa. And the reason I'm saying that is because Bahubali was not made in the first draft, right? There were many drafts which were made for it to eventually be called Bahubali. But if the writer at the first draft itself started overthinking, he would have never completed this story, right? So your first draft has to come from an unbiased, unedited version. Whatever comes to your head, you should put it down. Don't think about sahi hai, galat hai. Right? That's the first recommendation. So the first step in that is, let's create a long-term goal. Now, why are we starting there? Why not we starting today now? A long-term goal is something, not what your undergrad degree is. A long-term goal is something beyond that. Correct? Now, you might know it, you might not know it. Correct? Let's take the first example where you know it. And let's take a random example. You want to be an architect. Correct? So, okay. Can you be more specific? It's too vague right now. What kind of an architect? Just inquire a bit more. I want to be an architect who makes sky rocketing buildings, right? Or skyscrapers. Okay. Fine. So you want to do that, but is it like any skyscraper or a specific kind? I want to be an architect who makes a skyscraper which is energy efficient as a building, right? Or which has zero carbon footprint. I'm just giving some standard specifications to a longer term, which I'm saying, right? Why? I'll tell you later. Don't worry. The second statement should come is a short-term goal. Now, to achieve to a long-term goal, there has to be a station between that. It will not automatically come as a eventual journey, right? There has to be a stop prior to that. So that could be a checkpoint for you. Okay, check. By the way, you could say it as your graduation too, right? As your undergrad, as you might call it. Now, the third interesting question should be, okay, when did this realization of a goal happen? तो गोल आज तो बोल रहा है मेरे को आर्किटेक्ट बनना है, बहुत बढ़िया, मेरे को ऐसा स्काईस्केपर बनाना है, उसको कार्बन फुटप्रिंट जीरो चाहिए, उसको एनर्जी एफिशिएंट चाहिए, ये मेरा लॉन्ग टर्म गोल है. बट इसका थॉट ओरिजिनेट कहां से हुआ? That's where story begins, right? Now this could be in time, which is history. This could be way in class 6th, 7th, 8th, wherever. It could be when you were just born, you were in a big beautiful hospital, just हाँ मेरे को hospital बनाना है. Could be that old also, which is absolutely fine. I'm just giving you an example. But rather than just when did you realize, the also the question should come is, what happened and how did it occur to you? What does it mean? I'll give an example, guys. So if I had a ball, or chalo, I have my child's toy, right? So if I throw this at you at a very high speed, right? You could imagine that different people would react differently, right? Somebody might dodge, somebody might just scream, somebody might just shut his eyes, right? Somebody would, like there would be various things. Somebody would just start sweating, would not know what to do, right? Now, what happened was the toy was coming towards you. Your reaction to it is based on how it occurred to you. You're getting what I'm trying to say? So this coming to you is an action. This is constant for probably for all, but how it occurred to you would probably be different for many, right? And how it occurred to you normally creates a link in emotion, which creates motivation. Okay. For instance, I'll give an example. So my brother, he went to our uncle's place in 8th class, and he is an architect, right? So when he went to his place, he saw a beautiful house and an office along with it. He saw uncle was always home, available with his kids, right? And he used to travel to great destinations, beautiful setups, and live in fancy hotels. Correct. Now, for a child to have an inspiration, that is good enough. Correct. So what happened was he went to his uncle's home. But how it occurred to him? Now, his story in the occurrence is because in his home, he never saw dad around because dad was working in a government service. He was into telecommunications. He had to be mostly offshore or not at home. So he thought, rather than that kind of a job, I'll rather have this kind of a job where he has such kind of a lifestyle. He's normally also home, available with family, and he has a lot of money, travels the world. Right? That could be enough for that spark. What happened, when it happened. Third is how it occurred to you. Got it? तो वो टाइम स्टैम्प हो गया बैकग्राउंड में. ठीक है? But आज आप यहाँ खड़े हो. This is where you are today. You are in class 11th or 12th, whatever it is. Okay, so let's declare that. Fifth, this is where I stand today. Okay, sixth element. From what occurred, when occurred, till date, मैंने उस गोल के लिए किया क्या? तो सपोज मेरा ब्रदर ने बोला I want to be an architect, great. बट आर्किटेक्ट बनने के लिए मैंने अंकल के साथ टाइम स्पेंड करना शुरू किया जानने के लिए. मैं वीकेंड्स उनके पास जाता था, बस टाइम स्पेंड करता था. मैंने पता कि अंकल से अंकल क्या पढ़ते हैं, क्या करते हैं. उन्होंने बोला ड्राइंग अच्छी होनी चाहिए बेटा. ठीक है, बहुत बढ़िया. तो मैं स्कूल के कॉम्पिटिशन्स में हिस्सा मैंने लेना शुरू किया. ठीक है, मेरा इंटरेस्ट ऑटोमेटिकली उसमें बढ़ता रहा. ठीक है, एक सर्टन काइंड ऑफ स्ट्रक्चर डिजाइनिंग टेक्निकली चाहिए होती है आर्किटेक्चर्स के लिए. तो मैंने उस टाइप की डिजाइनिंग, उस टाइप की ड्राइंग अपने उस टाइम पे शुरू कर दी ना. बहुत बढ़िया. ठीक है, आज के डेट में मैं यहां खड़ा हूं, मुझे पता है एक सर्टन एंट्रेंस एग्जाम देना होता है, उसकी तैयारी मैंने इस टाइम पे शुरू कर दी. ठीक है, तो कुछ कुछ जर्नी आपको दिखनी शुरू हो जाएगी. चलो ठीक है, आज यहां खड़े हो. What stops you from being your goal today? This is where you stand today. You understand this? What stops you from being your goal? So I'm going to give you another example. A lot of students say, I want to be an entrepreneur. बड़ा वर्ड यूज करते हैं, मेरे को तो पहले समझ नहीं आता था ये वर्ड. ठीक है, now entrepreneur means what? Technically somebody who has his own business. But if I ask you this, do you have to do an MBA to become an entrepreneur? Audience, do you have
No,
to
sir.
do an MBA? No, you don't.
Sir,
You-
I feel entrepreneur is a person who not only does a business, but he also solves the problem of the people.
Correct. So one is problem solving, but in the generic
Yes,
term
sir.
of entrepreneurship, an entrepreneur technically does a lot of things, and one of those things is problem solving.
Yes, sir.
Now, technically, as a school principal, right, they would be also solving a lot of problems. Your teachers are also solving a lot of problems. You yourself are solving a lot of problems. So do you have a skill to be an entrepreneur? Some part of it. But to be an entrepreneur, there are various other skills for that matter which are required. Right? So normally entrepreneurship is used in case you're wanting to set up your own thing which you're running. Forget a business, something which you have set up of your own, which you're running. That's an entrepreneur. But for you to do that, you don't really need to be an MBA. So students are normally in the myth that after they complete an undergrad, they do an MBA and they could start their own business. It does not work like that first. Right? And to be an entrepreneur, right, whatever skills are required, you should be able to identify those skills and say, this is where I'm standing today, and these are the skills I don't have today. For example, to want to be an architect, going back to the old example, one, you need to be a part of that architectural bar of that country, right, to give you permission to, draw a building. But that's just a certificate required for you to do that. But beyond that, there are various other skills which are required for you to be an architect, right? For your capacity, for that matter, of drawing, for the matter I said, right? This is where I stand today, right? I don't have that degree which is required for me to practice. But beyond that, there are various other things which are required for you to have as a skill set. Let's create that list, right? That could be soft skills, that could be knowledge, that could be degree, that could be money, right? If you want to be business, many people say, I want a venture capitalist, right? You could also say, fine, if I meet a venture capitalist, that is great, but I would also need the capacity to convince that venture capitalist to invest in my company. So I need to have that capacity to convince. That's another skill I need to have. So like that, you should really pinpoint, draw things which you say, these are the things which are needed for me to be a successful goal which I'm intending in life. Okay. Now, your undergrad program would fill a few of those gaps, not everything, right? So let's then pinpoint. These are the things which my undergrad program would fulfill. Okay. But what about the ones which are left? What do you plan to do about them? You prepare your plan. Now, why I'm saying this story is important? Because once you make this story, first, it will give you clarity. Forget a university application. First, it will give you clarity. Second, it will create a stage for you. Stage 1, 2, 3, 4. This is where I am. It will make your life more constructive in a sense because you might have done 20 things in the past. And if you really start declaring to a university that these are the 20 things you have been participating in, you might sound like a confused profile. You might not sound like a profile which is clear regarding what he or she wants. Many people forget this. University wants great students, but the definition of great for a university is different. I'll rather have a student who knows what he wants, even if that student knows that he's confused. And the only thing for that matter he wants is clarity. That is still a better profile, right, than the others which I've just mentioned, right? Now, if I'm really confused, let's take an example. My goal is to just get out of confusion, to get clarity. That's my goal, for instance, right? Because I'm absolutely confused. Fine. So short-term goal is to know what my confusion is so that I'm able to work towards my goal eventually. That's my short-term goal. Got it. So when did you come to know that you were confused? That's the third point. कोई तो एक स्टेज आया होगा ना जिसमें लगा होगा यार हरप्रीत सिंह गड़बड़ चल रही है, समझ नहीं आ रहा लाइफ में क्या करना है. What happened, when it happened, and how it occurred to you? Did it have an emotional connect? Since that time of realization of you being confused till date, what have you done to get rid of confusion? So a confused student would normally step into multiple directions just to explore. राइट तो उसकी एप्लीकेशन क्या दिखेगी? मैंने 15-20 चीजें की हैं बट किसी चीज में भी कंसिस्टेंट नहीं है, करता है छोड़ देता है, करता है छोड़ देता है, करता है छोड़ देता है. दिस विल बी वेरी ऑब्वियस इन हिज एप्लीकेशन. करेक्ट, बिकॉज ही इज एक्सप्लोरिंग. करेक्ट, ठीक है. उससे लेके आज तक मैंने अभी किया है बट आई एम स्टिल कंफ्यूज्ड. ठीक है, तो मेरे पहले पास 10 या 100 चीजें थी जिसमें मैं कर सकता था, उसमें शॉट डाउन करते 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 आउट ऑफ एक्सप्लोरेशन मैंने 80 निकाल दी, 20 रह गई हैं. अभी भी इसमें 20 में कंफ्यूजन है. ठीक है, तो अब सवाल है मेरा अंडरग्रेड प्रोग्राम उस कंफ्यूजन को दूर करने के लिए क्या कर सकता है? क्या कुछ है, कुछ चीजें उसके अंदर? चलो ठीक है, उसमें इतनी कंफ्यूजन बाहर निकल जाती है, ये फिर भी रह जाती है. इसके बारे में मैं क्या कर रहा हूं? आई एम गिविंग यू कंफ्यूज प्रोफाइल एग्जांपल आल्सो. ठीक है, तो एक तो एब्सोल्युटली क्लियर हो गया और दूसरा कंफ्यूज हो गया. नॉर्मली इंडिया में कंफ्यूज बच्चे ज्यादा होते हैं, व्हिच इज एब्सोल्युटली फाइन बाय द वे. देयर इज नथिंग रॉन्ग विद कंफ्यूजन. सो इफ एनीबॉडी टेल्स यू कंफ्यूजन इज रॉन्ग, उसको बोलो प्लीज confusion is absolutely fine, but the thing is what do you do of that confusion is the thing, right? So if you stand there freeze out of confusion, is that good? Answer is no, right? You got to explore. exploration karna hai. So that's the plan. Now let's look back at that application. So मैंने आपको बताया, ideally the story should prepare the application for you. That's what I told you, right? So in that story, where is shortlisting coming? Where should I apply? Let's go back. So this is the story I prepared. It's absolutely done, right? So my goal is X. If I want to be an architect who wants to create a high-rise building, which is zero carbon footprint, which is energy efficient. So obviously I got to be an architect, but I need to be an architect which probably is good in urban designing, which will probably is good in environmental designing, or probably good in carbon footprint, imagine, whatever. So you're identified a certain knowledge set which is required in case you want to be something like that, right? So obviously that will link a list of universities, a list of programs, or list of degrees for that matter, which would enable that. Correct? Now, once that shortlisting is ready, that could be a list which you can afford, cannot afford, could be government, could be private, could be anything. That is 1X. But let not just be rankings, no. Because let me tell you, even if you go to a government college, you should still be able to fulfill your goal. Even if you go to a private college, you should still be able to fulfill your goal. Your goal should not alter. Your path could. And in the next journey of conversations, you should be able to alter your paths based on opportunities given to you. But your goal should remain constant. Right? So what's a statement of purpose where that could come from? So you see option number 1, 2, and really this part. That's your statement of purpose. Why I'm applying, where I'm applying, what benefit it would do to my application. This is where statement of purpose would come from. Okay. Now there could be personal essays which students or universities ask. Now I'll discuss it when I'm discussing the Ashoka application process, but that will come in that stage. The other thing which we normally say is, okay, fine, what extracurriculars or co-curriculars should I be showing? Should I be showing all 20? No, let's see. From the time of what happened till what you did today in the act of you going towards your goal. This should be your place. You mention or choose these co-curriculars or extracurriculars to be presented. You don't present everything, right? Because everything could lead to, because see, the application would be limited. For example, Ashoka University application says you could only upload 5 co-curriculars or extracurriculars. So you have to choose which 5 to show. And how do you choose which 5 to show? Normally, Indian way of shortlisting is, isme first aaya tha. Right? Now that first aaya tha might be leading you to another direction altogether, which should not be fit in the path which you're applying for the university itself. But many times students forget, fail aaya tha is also a learning. So I know a student who I mentored and said, you played in this sport for the first time 3 years back and you were last. 2 years consistently, you went back. You never came first, but your grades improved. So I want you to show that because 1, it was showing resilience. It was showing power of dealing with failure. It was showing that he had that sense of progression. That learning which the child had in that was better than coming first. The learning a child could probably have while coming first, if he's first consistently, then that's a different learning. Right? Then you're in that position of being competitive and you're consistently performing that. So you have that. That's a different skill set. But coming last and gradually improving, even if you don't come first, it's still worth mentioning to a lot of universities. You should remember that. Right? Now, in your plan of whatever, imagine now if this storyline is complete and I call you as a university and say, I want to interview you. Right? Do you think you'll be prepared to be able to link your entire story from what happened in the past or what you have presented in your application and towards what you think for the future? You would be more clearer with this. And this process takes time. This process would not happen overnight. And in the absence of knowing the structure of how to do it, students leave their application for the last minute because they still believe essay is my friend Ganesha, which could happen in 5 minutes. Right? That should not be the case. Is this process difficult? Answer is yes. This is the only way which ensures you're able to apply to a university which would consider you, not otherwise. Right? So let's now quickly check how an Ashoka University application looks. There are 4 stages. Stage 1, application. Let me warn you, as soon as you start looking at this, you're going back to your traditional way of looking at an application. Remember I told you? So whenever we look at this application, we see academic scores, हाँ जी वो तो है, बहुत बढ़िया, done. SAT score चाहिए, ओहो नहीं दिया, optional है कोई बात नहीं, चलेगा. Right? Personal essays, my Ganesha, right? Letter of recommendation, क्या करना है? Principal, Chief Minister. Correct? Let's go back. In this place, did you see a place for letter of recommendation? Yes or no? Yes or no? कोई letter of recommendation की जगह दिख रही है? नहीं बोल सकते हो क्योंकि नहीं आंसर है. नहीं है, right? So what is a letter of recommendation if I may ask you? क्या होता है letter of recommendation?
In Punjabi, sir, we can say सिफारिश.
बहुत बढ़िया. सिफारिश. किस चीज ਦੀ ਸਿਫਾਰਿਸ਼ ਹੈ? ਹੁਣ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਗੱਲ ਦੱਸ. Sorry, I'm sorry, I heard Punjabi, I went to Punjabi. I'll come back to English. So for example, if I have to say I'm a good son, I have to say I'm a good son. ठीक है? Do you think it will hold any value?
It holds value as you are a good one.
Correct. But who's saying it?
I'm itself saying, sir.
Correct. So you're saying you're the best. It holds any value?
No, sir, I don't think.
Correct. You got it. Right. And why I'm saying that is because in an application, most of the times you do this. Now, if I have to say I'm a good son, whom should I get a letter of recommendation from?
Absolutely, sir. Other person,
Oh, कौन होएगा वो person?
any official who is having dignity.
हाँ,
From father.
हाँ, ये जवाब है. But father ने क्यों, क्या माँ नहीं कह सकती तेरी?
Yes, sir. Sorry, sir. Ma'am.
है ना? दोनों parents could say that,
Yeah.
right? And the reason I'm saying that is, whatever you identify in your application which is missing, which you don't have enough evidence for, you identify who's this relation with, and you get a letter of recommendation from them. समझी नहीं समझी गल? For example, if there is enough evidence in my application saying I'm a good son, then I don't need a letter of recommendation from my parents because I've wasted space. I'll give an example. So can I show I'm a good son in my application? Now imagine in my application I've written, just to ensure my parents don't go through the burden of it, I ensured that I take a bank loan or I perform enough in my merit to ensure the burden does not trickle further. Right? Now this is a place where I have not said I'm a good son, but I have given an example of things I'm doing to ensure my parents are not bothered. So somebody might derive out of it, I'm a good son, but it is still left for them to derive, not for me to say. So when you're presenting your application, never be in the process of self-declaration. Always be in the process of giving examples and let those examples be left for the reader to decide what to make of it. You get it? Did not get it? दोबारा समझावा? I can't hear anybody. Okay, so let me give another example. So if you're saying you're good in academics, right? You have been coming first, right? Do you think you saying you coming first holds more importance or more value than somebody else saying it first? Anybody?
Yes, sir.
Like yes means what?
it will hold more value if someone other places us, he says that we are good at academics and we can.
Correct. But hun galdas, tere 99% आए ने. ठीक है? But you still want your teacher to write a letter of recommendation saying that this student is very good in the exam which he scored 99. Do you think you have wasted space? You listening to what I'm saying? So technically you have an evidence in your application that you're a 99%. Right? And you're asked the same teacher to write a letter of recommendation to again praise you on the same. I don't think it is recommended because you wasted space. But if you're coming first and you want to elaborate this further, the better way of elaborating this further is when you make a career graph. What's a career graph? I'll explain. So imagine you're saying I came first against you're saying out of 120 students, I have come first consistently since last 6 years or 3 years. This line against saying I'm first, what do you think, which one is better?
The later, sir.
Correct. Why? Because in this you created a career graph. What do I mean by career graph? Career graph is in comparison to your peers. Right? For example, I'll give an example which people use to apply to a company. Okay. So somebody said, okay, I got promoted in 2 years. Now this to a reader could be good, could be bad. You have left it to their speculation. Right? Now, if I say in the job which I'm in, the normal time which it takes for a person to get promoted is 6 years, and I did it in 2 years. This is in comparison to peers, and I've just declared what's that difference. Thus, this career graph is a better way of representing.
Right. Okay.
You took this example? Right? So now you should be in a position to say, okay, fine, this is what my application is. These are the points which I have an evidence for. These are the points I don't have an evidence for. Let's identify who is this related to and get a letter of recommendation from them. That should decide. It should not be the hierarchy of that person. So the hierarchy of the person makes no difference as a letter of recommendation. And the reason for that is most hierarchy-based letter of recommendation would be proxy recommendations. In the sense, they would use standard generic statements which would not be specific to you. For example, "Eh te bahut hi vadiya munda si." Now this is too generic a statement. The person might not have dealt with you or had any interaction with you historically. That does not help you. Right? So if you have it from a person who has viewed you, seen you in person, in action, and you get a letter of recommendation from that person saying that I have, worked with this person in so and so context, and I know that this person is or has such capabilities, and I'm recommending this student to your university because what your university would do is take you to the next level. So your recommender technically should know the university, what benefit that university would do to you, understanding your challenges and being able to promote that. That is a letter of recommendation, right? So even schools need to got to note this. A letter of recommendation is not just praising a child. It is knowing the gaps the child has, knowing the potential the university would be able to create and able to marry those conversations in a letter. Because otherwise all letter of recommendation become generic letters. You're not recommending a child, right? So think that. And the reason I do.
So my question, I'm sorry,
Sure,
sir.
sure.
My question is that we generally get this, that children come to us for the letter of recommendation.
Right.
Oh, what are we supposed to do? We are not supposed to write about the good things about the children?
You should. So you should tell us why you're recommending the child. But again, ma'am, as I said earlier, when I'm saying recommended, you are recommending a child for education. You're not recommending a child for a job, right? Now, when I'm saying you're recommending a child for an education, that means you're identifying the potential the child has, that is not where he stands today. That is where he could stand in future.
In future. Okay.
Correct. But that is a gap which you've just declared when you say that.
Mhm.
Right? So this is what he has done. But this is where I see him. Right? And for him to be able to reach that, your university caters to this. Thus, we are recommending him to you. Because
Okay.
technically, you could recommend that student to any university. And you should have a different reason to recommend that student to any different university. Right? So, for example, if I have to recommend a driver for my principal,
Mm.
right? Why am I recommending a driver to that principal? Because I know that driver, I know that capacity that driver holds, I know that the principal needs a driver. So there is a gap I know which somebody is trying to fulfill, right? And a certain skill set the person has, and thus recommending. So I need to know the place the child is going, the requirement over there, and the gap for that matter, which is there, and what the principal could do by paying or absorbing him as a driver. Right? I'm just giving a standard regular example. So your letter of recommendation has to be more specific, not generic.
More specific than how I see and where I see my child.
Correct.
Since I see that these are the potentials and your university is giving us these courses, so this is my recommendation that he should go in for this course. Something
So
like that?
courses could still be generic. So let's look at this draft of a story. Let's try and create a letter of recommendation from there, right? So let be this long-term goal as what you foresee for your child, right? This is the short-term goal, which you say that this is what the child could do. But this is where the child stands today. You're acknowledging this is where he stands today, right? This is what he has done today. This is his capacity, what he has achieved. But whatever is the gap, I'm identifying that your university, which is caters to a certain kind of a program, not a certain degree name. Because if you really say BA honors in English, there'll be 1,000+ universities within India who could give you BA honors English. Right? So would you be recommending that child to 1,000 universities within India? Should you be? Right? Why are you specifically recommending that child to this university? That's a question. Right? So for that, you got to know more about the university. Only then that letter of recommendation would hold more value. Right? So can you have a letter of recommendation for any university? Very easy, like filling up an application. Would it be worth? Only if you're able to match both those ends. Did I answer you?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, so now let's come back to an application at Ashoka. So it does take class 10th, 11th, and 12th mark sheet. SAT, ACT are optional. Personal essays are 3. But didn't I tell you our application is context based? Remember initial slides? Applications are be context based. We're supposed to evaluate you, what you bring to the table, where do you stand today, and where do you want to take it for the future, right? Now, how does a context get created? Now, we are a liberal arts and sciences university. We are assessing if you're a liberal student. Liberal ki paribhasha ke hisab se, you should be a khula dimag. Khula dimag is what I'm trying to assess in you. Can you show a khula dimag in an application? Answer is yes. Can you show if you have a head on top of your shoulders? Answer is yes. That is what the personal essays are designed for. Letter of recommendation, that's the thing which I told you. Identify the gap in your application. See this gap linked with who. Catch hold on that person and see, can you recommend me? In that sense, take permission and have them apply. Engagement, not a certificate. So something which you have been a part of, which you want to continue, that is an engagement. So it could be as simple as gardening too. You might not have a certificate. It could be singing. You might not have a certificate. You could have a YouTube recording channel. It could be a blog of writing. It could be anything. Something which you're engaged with or without a certificate, should be absolutely be fine. Then for an Ashoka perspective, there are some standardized tests, which are Ashoka aptitude assessment and the on-the-spot essay. This is just stage 1. Stage 2 is where we interview you. Now, if you're not yourself, you would automatically get rejected in the interview, because if you take help in stage 1 from a counselor or from a known person, you would not be that person when you come to stage 2. You might be a different person altogether. So any university would highly recommend that you do your application on your own. Take help, which is fine, but it should still be your application. So don't be too proud in case you're taking help and you fill the application. The universities are smart enough to know that, right? Third, at Ashoka, we are trying to ensure diversity. Now, when we're saying diversity, we're trying to say inclusiveness. And inclusiveness means what? If we don't create an inclusive environment at Ashoka, we would not have a diverse class. A diverse class means in the batch of 2023, we took 561 students. 18 countries is what they came from, 105 cities, 342 schools. 42% of them were on financial aid. 102 of them were on full 100% scholarship. 6.3 were from family income whose income was less than 2 lakh rupees a year. 6% were first generation college goers. 56% women, 43% women, men, 1% neutral gender. Why I'm saying this? Because to Ashoka, diversity is important. So if you know which university you're applying to, you should be able to match yourself to that expectation. So what we are asking you to bring is a diverse application, a diverse part of you. Your context, your background helps. And the reason for that is because if you see faculties at Ashoka, they're faculties from top universities from across the world. Universities like Cambridge, Washington, Harvard, Yale, Columbia University, IAS, and so on, right? So when a faculty leaves Harvard and comes to Ashoka, he or she is still going to continue research. But for that research to continue to happen, he or she has to ensure the class is diverse enough for that research to happen. I'll give an example. If all the rich from Mohali are sitting in a class and I throw them a topic of research, let's say poverty, do you think they'll be able to do justice to that research of poverty? Probably not. They might have the intent to do it, but they'll not be able to do justice to it. And the reason for that is because they don't have the context for it. So Ashoka says that you got to create a diverse and a complex class for research to continuously happen. And that's why inclusion, that's why context. Now, why I'm saying this in your application, if you don't know the university and you just do fill in the blanks, you're bound to get rejected, or they're bound to have a greater chance of not entry, right? Understand this and then project yourself the way you want to. Well, if you really understand what the new education policy brings, soon this would be the only norm for you to apply. You would not be able to apply to universities directly as merit, quota, or funding. You would be required to have a holistic application process which evaluates you completely. Because the new education policy primarily asks all universities to consciously do research, to be an interdisciplinary, multidisciplinary learning, 21st century learning skills, quantitative academic research, imaginative pedagogy of teaching, experiential governance and leadership, professional, academic, and career counseling, financial aid support for higher education, and outstanding enthusiastic faculty. If this has to happen, they can't take a student from a traditional entry point anymore. So thus, applications would be the most critical factor for you to be able to link that with a university, right? So if you have been avoiding this till date for whatever X reason, and 11th and 12th class might still be lucky because by the time they're gonna complete their undergrad, the new education policy might still not be implemented. But students after that would definitely be required to represent themselves in a more holistic manner. There would not be a choice. You still have a choice to go to a traditional university or to a university which even the government agrees to now that everybody should be, which is a liberal setup, or a university which looks at a holistic admission process. That is still your choice. You could ignore it for a while, but you could not skip it forever. With that, I really come to the end of it. Hina probably is still with me. Hina, if you're there, I might need your help with any Q&A. We are really happy in case you want to give feedback. I could probably quickly share a link for feedback in case you're interested. Please give us feedback. Let us know good or bad, whatever we did. But do ask questions in case there is something specifically which you want to ask regarding your application, regarding you representing yourself. I'll be more than happy to probably give you that. Also sharing Hina's contact number. Hina is the regional manager for the region. She'll be more than happy to assist you anything further which has to do with Ashoka. Questions, guys?
Students, you can raise your hand in case you have any question.
Oh, okay, I need to look at that screen.
Any questions? So as I said in my introduction, that the introduction which I gave was actually little less for the knowledge you have about the whole thing, and it was really a wonderful session, sir. And I hope students have got all the answers. And in case they have any questions, sir has sent a link. You can fill in that link and you can keep in touch with sir.
So-
Otherwise, we are always there. You
Right.
can message us and we can message Harpreet sir, and
Right.
we can reply to your questions.
So that link is an anonymous feedback that does not collect any data. That would not tell us who you are, and we would not be able to link it with your name, right? So when we say give us feedback, it's an anonymous feedback. Please feel free to give us that, right? If you're interested in anything about Ashoka, I've given you Hina's number. I could see somebody has raised his hand. Bikramjeet. Bikramjeet,
Yes,
you could
Vikram?
unmute.
Sir, how do we know which university should we apply in? How do we choose the perfect university?
Good question. So if you really ask me, it's difficult, not easy, right? But if I was you, I would really start investigating. And this investigation is not just rank. Yes, you should look at rank, nothing wrong with that. But nowadays, it's more difficult to apply to a university or look at a university with ranks. For example, you had an interaction today with Ashoka, for instance, right? You might not know anything about it, but the more you start inquiring about it, the more you start reaching out people or meeting people, the better you would be informed to take that decision. So I'll give an example. Ashoka is a liberal arts and sciences university. Liberal means what? Liberal means khola dimag. At Ashoka, the model is that you could still be confused when you join Ashoka, and will allow you enough exploration to be able to choose for yourself. For example, you might be thinking maths today, you might be thinking chemistry today, you might be thinking biology tomorrow, computer sciences day after. So at Ashoka, you could start exploring. So a student who wants to explore Ashoka is a good choice. But for a student, for that matter, who wants to ensure he's not just exploring, but he's able to create combinations which are unheard of. For example, creating combinations like computer sciences with economics, creating combinations with computer sciences with sociology, anthropology, creating combinations, for example, politics, philosophy, psychology, right? These are combinations you don't hear in India, right? In that sense, because universities give you a very linear form of education, right? So if you want something like that, which is future ready, which helps you interlinkability, then you will automatically look at liberal education universities like Ashoka, right? But if you want a specific traditional education, because that's what you think you'll be more aligned with, then you'll automatically not look at Ashoka, right? But the Ashoka admission process is designed in a manner that it helps you identify while you apply. So if you really want to ask me, just start filling the application form of Ashoka or a few top universities like this. The application process, by the time you complete it, even if you don't submit, you would come to know you want to apply to this university or not. And if you think applications could be expensive, Ashoka application is absolutely free. You don't miss any penny for you to even apply, right? So as I said, start exploring. And Bikramjeet, if you're confused about a career, and I think that's where most kids are, because I know kids who see MasterChef Australia and they say they want to be a chef. Or I know kids who see Discovery Turbo and they say they want to be a mechanical engineer, right? So could I ask you, Bikramjeet, have you seen the Taj Mahal?
No, sir.
No. Have you heard about the Taj Mahal?
Yes, sir. Through internet.
Right. Right. Do you want to go and see the Taj Mahal?
Yes, sir.
Right. But tell me one thing. if you decide to do a career, let's say Taj Mahal, without seeing it, do you think you'll be able to do that forever, or do you think your option might, or your opinion might change once you see Taj Mahal?
But my opinion might change.
Correct. So if your opinion might change, what should you do? Let's plan a trip of Taj Mahal, right? Go for a day, see if you like it, great. Stay there forever. But if you don't, what do you do? Quickly take a U-turn, come back. You could do exactly the same thing in your careers. This is normally used as an internship as a word. That means you expose yourself to something specific, see if you like it, great. Don't like it, come back, do another thing. अब internship schools में normally हम बहुत risk में देखते हैं because we normally consider it as an undergrad में thing या college कराएगा. But tell me one thing, Bikramjit, if you want to be a chef, where could you do internship? होटल के अंदर?
Right, sir.
नहीं, मम्मी के साथ किचन में खड़े हो गए. If you want to be a lawyer, internship कहाँ कर सकता है?
Sir, any law firm or
नहीं, कचहरी में जाके खड़ा होना होता है बिना क्राइम किए. If you want to be a constructor, you want to be an architect or a builder, what's your internship? कहीं construction site होती जाके खड़े हो जा सुबह से लेकर शाम तक. Many times, internship is all about exposing yourself in that environment and seeing if you're comfortable there or not. If you're not comfortable there, that should give you a sign. For example, you should not be doing automobile engineering if you're not comfortable with hot heated engine. तो जब घर दी गड्डी सर्विस हो रही होंदी है ना, वो जाके मैकेनिक नाल खलो के देखना होता है कि am I comfortable with this environment? Because a mechanical engineer, the size of the engine would be the only thing which will be different, but he'll still be dealing with engines. Right? So you got to expose yourself like that. And the more you expose yourself, the better you would be. Right? Then you could create a list of 10, 50, industries or jobs or things like that. मम्मी पापा को बोलो, इतने लोगों को जानते हो, ये 10 लोगों की लिस्ट निकाल के दो. मम्मी पापा का नेटवर्क कम है, स्कूल को बोलो, इतने बच्चे पढ़ते हैं हमारे यहाँ, उनके माँ बाप कहीं ना कहीं तो काम करते होंगे. इस लिस्ट में मुझे बताओ कौन आर्किटेक्ट है, कौन डॉक्टर है, कौन लॉयर है, कौन पुलिस में. ठीक है, सब अंकल आंटी से मैंने जा जाके एक दिन जाके मिलना है. ये पूछना है कि सुबह से लेकर शाम तक करते क्या हो, और फिर इमेजिन करना है वुड आई बी कंफर्टेबल विद दैट लाइफ. प्लीज उनको जाके ये सवाल मत पूछना कितना कमाते हो. ठीक है, योर फर्स्ट कॉन्वर्सेशंस शुड बी वुड आई बी कंफर्टेबल विद दैट लाइफ और नॉट. सो एज आई सेड, द मोर यू एक्सपोज योरसेल्फ, द बेटर वुड बी. But also get rid of this conversation that you have to have clarity, because you are being pressurized to do this. And if I ask your parents, अगले 5 साल बाद की करेंगे, trust me, they would not have an answer to it, but they expect you to have an answer to this. Right? So be okay to be confused, right? But be okay to evolve along with it. Don't stick there. Expose करो, जितना ज्यादा एक्सप्लोर कर सकते हो उतना ज्यादा एक्सप्लोर करो. At least it will tell you what not to do. If nothing else.
Cadet Harmanpreet, do you have a question? You've raised
Yes,
your
ma'am.
Yes,
Yes, I have a question, sir.
Please ask.
So my question is, suppose there's a child who is very good in studies. You can say he's a bookworm, or in his whole life he hasn't participated in any curricular activity or any other function. So what will be the reaction of the university towards that child?
Okay, so firstly, okay, he has no extracurriculars, nothing whatsoever. Correct? He has only been great in books and he has been great in marks. Correct?
Yes, sir.
So I get a lot of students who say that. And after half an hour of a conversation, they're able to come up with a list of extracurriculars. How's that possible? I'll tell you. So this student came, he said, I had 0 co-curriculars. I said, hey, तो सुबह से लेकर शाम तक करता क्या है? ठीक है, we started discussing. And what we figured is that he used to watch movies. Now, watching movies normally is not what you consider as a co-curricular and extracurricular. Correct? Right? So when we were discussing, he watches movies and we started just having a conversation. Right? After a 10-minute conversation, it was very clear that I could speak of any movie with him, with any era, any genre. and he could tell me about it. He could be one of the biggest critics for that matter in it. Right? Now, this was not documented anywhere. Correct? So I said, why can't you start a blog on which you write movie critics and circulate to the world and let people, respond to it? So he was able to create something out of nothing and present. Now, like that, if you're saying you're academically strong, for example, you like physics, okay, fine. Do you read books apart from your school physics books? Are there other things of physics which interests you? Are there sessions which you attended, forums which you participated in physics, which is academics? Right? So whatever is your ultimate goal, towards that you would have had taken actions apart from what your school offers. And if you're good at it, trust me, you would have had. Somebody just needs to speak to you and tell you, or just consciously look within. There is a lot which you do. 24 hours in a day. Trust me, you do a lot. So अपने आप को इतना अंडरएस्टिमेट मत करो. ठीक है? और वो सर्टिफिकेट्स की कैटेगरी में मत घुसो. We're not really saying that you have to have a certificate. That's not an extracurricular, co-curricular. ठीक है? Might not be. Like हो सकता है, but
Yes,
might
sir.
not.
Thanks a lot, sir.
ठीक है? Anything else? I have another hand. Tejinder Pal.
Get it, Tejinder Pal?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. If there is a question that is such similar to this question, sir, your participation in your co-curricular activities, it causes any kind of disturbance or not? Let us suppose there was my friend. His name was Dolav. He had also cleared the written exam of AFP. But sir, he played volleyball only in the street, only in his home. But he had not any kind of official participation. Sir, I was just saying that does this matter in your interview
Okay.
or etc.?
Okay, so in context to Ashoka, it matters in the sense he played at whatever level. The point is, how did he engage himself? Now, the conversation I would really do, Tejinder, with you, Tejapal, is this. Sports teaches you a lot of things. You would agree, correct? Now, sports
Yes,
teaches you some things like failure, some things like how to deal out of failure, some things like how to work in teams. And if I really ask you this, what does a research scientist do? He's supposed to have all these three qualities. He's supposed to have the quality of dealing with failure because not all his researches would be a success. He needs to have the capacity of bouncing back from all those failures, which is power of resilience. And he's supposed to work in teams because majority researches would only happen in teams. So in an academically rigorous program, sports could work as a great extracurricular. So could theater. Now, theater gives you the capacity to be expressive, to be in that position to share what you feel. But isn't that a research scientist also supposed to do in front of a panel, which he goes and says, fund me? He's supposed to be expressive and ask those venture capitalists or funders to give him money for his further research. That's again a quality which I could take from theater, being expressive. Right? Not having the fear of standing in front of an audience and delivering something. Isn't that what a professor is supposed to do? But isn't that what theater also teaches you? Right? So you should be able to link things like this. And that's why, for example, creativity is important in case you want to be a researcher. But where do you check or show creativity? Music, painting, singing. These are some aspects of you being creative. You getting what I'm saying? Right? So
Yes, sir.
any and everything for that matter you participate has made you who you are today. Correct? So a holistic approach would want to know that completely, not in isolation. You're getting it? But you should be able to link those angles to say, this is what I learned in this, and this is what I learned in this. It is not about what you did. It's about what impact did that have in your life. For example, a lot of students do join an NGO. Now, the point is not that you joined an NGO. The point is once you joined an NGO, what human side of you emerged? That is what made you who you are, not you joining an NGO. I hope you understand what I'm saying.
So it means that participation should be there in
Correct.
any kind of co-curricular.
Correct. You
Thank you
pushing
very much, sir.
yourself. You pushing yourself should be there. Yes.
Thank you very much.
I hope that answers. Any other questions? I know a lot of school teachers have started looking at time and started looking at their phones as like kab khatam hoga types. Any further questions?
No, sir, it's going very interesting. I'm very happy that at least students were listening to you and they have questions. Any other question? Because it was very interesting. I really liked it and we really enjoyed it. And any
My-
other question?
My only recommendation now, in case there are no questions, is whenever you see a holistic application profile anywhere, forget Ashoka, I'm not specifically telling you to join Ashoka, anywhere, please start preparing for them in time. Don't wait for the last minute. Your school could offer help, the universities could offer help, you would have alums, you would have seniors, go to them, speak to them, but still make your own decisions. Right? I think you should have enough of that brain on top of your shoulders to be able to do that. Right? That's primarily it. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Harpreet sir. Our coordinator, Seema Benipal ma'am, would like to say a few words.
Sure.
Thank you, Ms. Alka. A graceful and tranquil evening to most valued speaker of the day, worthy principal, dear teachers, and most beloved students. I, Seema Benipal, on behalf of Shamrock School, extend a very hearty vote of thanks to our resource person, Mr. Harpreet Singh, for sharing with us valuable information to build up a right kind of dossier to step into the universities. This will surely be a great help to all the students. A special thanks to Ms. Sohal, principal of Shamrock School, for her immense support to make the webinar successful. A big thank you to Ms. Alka Saini to host the much awaited webinar. I also extend thanks to all the teachers, IT department, and the volunteers for the cooperation to make this webinar a great success. I appreciate all the students for their active participation. As promised, e-certificates will be issued to all the participants and the teachers who attended today's webinar through SchoolPad. For that, you are requested to fill Google form. The links for the same have been dropped in the chat box by Mr. Prabjot. I hope so, Prabjot sir, you are doing the same. In case you are not the host, I request Mr. Harpreet to make him please host. Right, thank you. So I close my address by quoting the lines of Christopher Robin. Always remember you are braver than you believe, stronger than you seem, and smarter than you think. So thank you everyone once again for making it a great success. Thank you. So kids, please fill the form.
Harpreet sir, you have to make Prabjot sir.
I'm just looking for him. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, please.
You can stop the recording, sir.
Sure. 1 second.
Yes, please.
Pravjoji, I've made you the host.
No. Cadet Prabnoor, can you please make me the host? By mistake,
sorry.
I think sir has made. No issues, sir. He will make. So you can
Amen.
stop the recording. Prabnoor, make me the host.
I think the host could only stop the recording. Yeah.
Yes.